Hey Mama, it's Jocelyn here, and we are going to talk today on our Friday motherhood focused episode about enjoying motherhood in the modern times. And it might take a little bit different spin than you think, but I think you'll like it, and I think it will help you to enjoy your motherhood a little bit better, I hope. I hope that you implement some of these tools that I teach into your life and into your motherhood, not into your mother, into your motherhood to become a better mother. And not just a better mother, but a happier you. Motherhood, I believe, is meant to be enjoyed. Just as the scriptures say, men are that they might have joy. I believe we can have that joy in motherhood. Sometimes it does take practice, though, and it does take intentional mind shifts. And that is why we are here to try and practice positivity in pregnancy and motherhood. Thank you for listening. I'm Jocelyn, and let's get started. Hi, I'm Jocelyn, host of the Positive in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast. I help pregnant women and mothers to find positivity in their season of life through changing their thoughts to work for them and not against them. I help mothers find the small, doable steps in thought and action without making drastic changes to their everyday mom life. And I can help you. Thanks for joining. Man, I have started this podcast 3 times in 3 different ways, and I can't decide how I would like to introduce this topic or my thoughts on this topic. So we are just going to kind of go for it. I've been reading a story to my children that I found at the DI, and the DI is like a thrift store, kind of like a Goodwill. And it just had a cute cover. It was old looking and had some little girls on it with bonnets on their head, kind of overlooking a valley. And it just piqued my interest. So I picked it up and bought it. It was only $1. And this past week, have been reading that book to my children. And it's cute. It was just a cute book. The book is called The Bread and Butter Girls, I believe. And that book, though, really got me thinking. And I don't even know why I got on this thinking process or like this thinking train of thought, because this book didn't even really talk about what has come to my mind about being a mother in modern times. But these girls and their moms traveled later after their dad to his settlement. So he went before them to settle or to build the home. And the girls and their moms and a brother, actually, I think it's 2 brothers, went with the mom and the girls. And so they don't have their husbands during this time. And I was just really thinking about the traveling and how they had to do their meals outside over a hot fire, how they had to sleep in the wagon, or actually under the stars. In this story, they didn't have a wagon, they just took pack animals, and how different things were. And it got me thinking about motherhood in the modern times and how different it is and how much it has shifted. In that book, they didn't have shelter. They had some ready-to-go foods, but oftentimes in the evening, the boys went out to hunt for a quail or something for them to eat along the way. They didn't have ready-made foods like we had. They didn't have safety. There were some evenings in this little book that actually is based on a journal, where there were wolves howling and they were scared about Indian attacks and just so many different things that they faced that we don't have to face. And in a way, I think that can help us to enjoy motherhood a little bit better when we realize how good we really do have it. Think about all the past civilizations and compare it to what we have now. Past civilizations found it hard to have clothes. it was not easy to come by clothing. They had to make it or get it from an animal. Shelter was another thing that was not readily available. It had to be built, it had to be like in a cave, and it wasn't just abundant or easily bought or purchased. Food options, same thing. Food did not come easy to them. In fact, oftentimes past civilizations hunted and moved around for the food. They couldn't refrigerate it like we can now, and it was much more difficult to heat up and eat food. Safety was another thing that was hard to come by. Now, I know in different parts of the world, safety can still be an issue, but overall, I feel like civilization and society as a whole has improved to feel a little bit more safe. It is just so interesting that we have all of these things. We have clothing, we have shelter, we have food options, we have safety. But sometimes motherhood, not sometimes, a lot of the times, motherhood is so hard still. Part of me feels it's hard because we are so convenient. We have so many options that we don't even know how to stay in the moment. We are so busy dealing with the overwhelm of too many conveniences that we forget to enjoy our motherhood, that we forget to enjoy the moments that we have and how amazing it is to have those things readily available to most of us who are listening to this podcast. It is just amazing. Enjoying that motherhood is a choice. And for me, it has been an intentional choice. As a little girl, I always wanted to be a mom. I was so excited to grow up and be a mom. And then I became a mom, and it was hard. It was way harder than I ever thought it was going to be. And it really threw me through a loop and kind of, I feel I probably went through some depressive times thinking like, I've always wanted this, and this is really hard now. It sometimes, for some of us, does have to be an intentional choice. And for me, it has been. It has been intentionally choosing small moments and things like shelter, food, clothing, and safety to get to the point where I'm really grateful and I really am enjoying most of my motherhood. Now, as I've mentioned in past episodes, there are times like when we fight, when we can't get anything done, when I'm feeling a lot of negative emotion and overwhelm that aren't so pretty. But that's why this podcast is here, because we're not going to have all quite really pretty moments. But this podcast hopefully helps you to find ways to deal with those not pretty moments and to expand your ability to feel more of the good moments. I think it's practiced to feel good and to feel happy because it takes intentionality. So, for this episode and enjoying motherhood in modern times, I encourage you to find gratitude. Gratitude has shifted my mindset, my motherhood, and my life, and this episode can help you begin by being grateful for the shelter you have to live in and the amenities that are around you. You know what's another thing that's pretty cool that I wanted to share that's really kind of not related? But we can take pictures and videos of our kids, and we can keep those for years to come and look back on how little and cute and funny and crazy life was. It's just amazing some of the modern conveniences that we have. That we have food that we can make and get fairly easy from the store or from the fast food restaurant or from the microwave, depending on where we've cooked it. It's just pretty amazing when you think about it. Oh, and one more tangent one that we can be grateful for is technology. Isn't it cool that I can sit here and record this podcast on my computer and you can listen to it worldwide? I do have people who have listened to this around the world, and it is so cool that technology can help us to communicate and we can be grateful for that. Anyway, I could go on and on about some cool things that we get to experience in modern motherhood, but you already know what they are, and I encourage you to find gratitude for this moment that we have. In other episodes, we'll talk about being present. We will talk about how to deal with things when it's tough, because even though we have all these conveniences, it is tough, but we're doing this together. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. But most of all, thank you for applying what you hear and what you learn into your own life to make your motherhood more happy and more positive. Until next time. Thank you for being a part of the Positive in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast, for listening, for sharing, and most of all, for applying these tools into your own life to improve your own happiness so that you can find your own better thoughts for a better you in a positive pregnancy, in losing that stubborn baby weight, and becoming the mom you desire to be through taking small steps in thought and action to reach your goals. If you are a mother who has an inner desire to enjoy motherhood and pregnancy better, but you are having difficulty figuring it out, I can help you. I can help you find the small, doable steps without drastic changes to your everyday mom life. Reach out, let's connect, and let's see you move forward. My name is Jocelyn, and I thank you for listening. Until next time. Sometimes it takes a fresh perspective. It takes a fresh podcast, a fresh encouragement, a fresh seminar, a fresh visit with a friend or a family member to help you get your feet back on track and to get going again with your gratitude, with intentionally striving to enjoy your motherhood. I know that all those things I've listed have helped me get back on track and to stay on track and to keep the fresh start. Something that can add freshness into your life and into your home is my candles. I hand pour candles, wax melts, and make some room sprays if you want to freshen up your home. Sometimes that fresh scent can really help brighten you and remind you that you are trying to get refreshed. You are trying to refresh your mind to find the positivity. If you are interested in these candles, pineapple sage is a really fresh one, and I love the smell of it that can help freshen your home and remind you that you are trying to be positive in this motherhood and dealing with negative emotion in positive ways that will help you to grow into the person you desire to be. Thank you for listening. Till next time.